Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book store's got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Hey pizza people, welcome back. We actually have a pretty interesting deck for you today, and it's actually highly competitive. This was the deck that took down our latest event, the Slice of Standard, on August 7th. Hollywoodpizza here, and let's jump right into the deck list. So we've got some vampires, some rogues, and even some merfolk for you today. In our 1-drop slot, we've got a couple Spell Pierce, 3 Voltage Surge. 2-drop slot, we've got Make Disappears, Infernal Grasps, couple Siphon Insights, 4 Soaring Thought Thieves, 3 Blood Tithe Harvesters, and a 1 of Meat Hook Massacre. 3-drop slot, we've got 4 Fable of the Mirror Breaker, 3 Kaido Shizuki, 4 Corpse Appraisers, and then to round out the top end of the deck, we have a couple 5-drops here in 2 Zerathon and 2 Evelyn. So essentially what you're mostly trying to do with the deck is kind of gain a little bit of some tempo with some of your flash spells, such as the Voltage Surge, the Spell Pierces, and the Make Disappears, which can, the Spell Pierce and the Make Disappear can just be kind of some great little tempo counter spells there. Playing at instant speed on your opponent's turn. Specifically, the Soaring Thought Thief can also play a huge role in that, as not only does it come into play at instant speed, but it definitely gives you a bit of some beatdown, and you actually have some rogues in the deck that can benefit from the actual additional +1/+0 in the Corpse Appraiser and the Zerathon. Speaking of Zerathon, this card could definitely be quite a big beating, especially if you remove some of your opponent's creatures and or your opponent has put some pretty interesting permanents on the battlefield. If you can sneak in the Zerathon either by hard casting it or getting it into play off of that pseudo ninjutsu ability when you can return a unblocked rogue to its owner's hand. But essentially the Zerathon can definitely help you kind of run away with the game. Evelyn is just another great card that actually helps tie the deck together, considering that a lot of our cards are going to be, you know, vampires and the Blood Tithe Harvester, the Corpse Appraiser yet again. But overall, the Evelyn itself does actually help quite a bit in gaining a lot of that card advantage, and having Flash is just phenomenal as well, where, you know, a lot of what this deck is trying to do is trying to stall out towards the middle to end of the game, and then you can kind of start to hit some of your heavy hitters, some of your card advantage with the Corpse Appraisers, the Fable. We all know how great this card is, and the Engine of Kaido. Kaido, just a phenomenal card ever since it's come into Standard. It's definitely great getting a lot of your engine going and making sure that your card flow continues. Siphon Insight is also a very spicy card in the deck list, as you're able to kind of take some of what your opponent's trying to do and use it to your advantage. The one of Meat Hook is also great because there's a lot of, you know, aggressive kind of go white strategies where even just having one of these is just fantastic. But I know I had a blast playing this deck. I recommend it for sure for any tournament. It just took down our latest one, so, you know, definitely look in the description for more deck lists from that event. Alright, and we also have some special lands here in the Hive of the Eye Tyrant, 2 of them, Xander's Lounge as usual, 4 of, and that's kind of it in terms of special lands. A lot of everything else that we have is just going to be some dual lands to help cast our spells. In the sideboard, we actually have some pretty useful spells here in a couple duresses for anything that's like a more mid-range or control strategy if we know that they have a lot more non-creature cards in their deck. Couple array of enfeeblements for the mono-white aggro and the Hinata matchups. That additional Voltage Surge kind of help against anything that's like a hyper-aggressive deck. 2 Disdainful Strokes to help counterspell anything like that's in the Hinata deck that's kind of like a problem like Hinata itself, or even like Gold Spans. Negates are great here, kind of just like a useful overall catch-all counterspell for anything that's a non-creature. We also have a 1 of Unlicensed Hearse in case we need to get rid of the graveyard. 2 Soul Shatters for that additional removal if our opponent's playing some really big threats. Once again, just a great card against like a Gold Span or Hinata, as you don't actually have to target their creatures, and it only costs 3 mana. An additional Evelyn in case the game gets a lot grindier and that's something that you want to bring in. And 2 more Meat Hook Massacres for the aggressive matchup as well. And let's jump into the games. Playing some vampires, some rogues, a little bit of some Grixis on top. Let's go. And this hand's a little bit slow, but we are on the play. Kaido doesn't seem too bad making a 1-1 as just kind of like a baseline play. Top of that, we have some corpse appraisers in case we draw some removal or our opponent ends up putting some creatures in the graveyard. And I think that we want to start with our Blight Step here. Pass it back. Let's go and see what our opponent's up to. And they also did nothing. Let's go and play this as a blue source. And we'll pass it back. We'll have a Soaring Thought Thief now on turn 2 at instant speed, which feels pretty good, especially with the Kaido, because the Kaido will be able to kind of phase out. So be able to refill our hand, kind of have a little bit of a tempo play. Let's see what our opponent is playing now. Okay, they have an Epicure. So are they the Anvil deck? It's looking a little bit like it. And it looks like that's all that they have for this turn. We'll get our Thought Thief down. And then our Kaido to follow up here. And I don't think that they have a response. Okay. Haunted Ridge, really good draw there. Think we just attack. If we mill a creature, we might be a little bit more inclined to play the Corpse Appraiser, just because it's a bigger threat. Being a 3/3, okay, we don't hit anything that we can exile, so I think it is still the Kaido plan. And then maybe we can get the Zerathzon down next turn, depending on what we draw or what we end up putting in the graveyard from our opponent's side. Bloodtithe Harvester, pretty decent draw there. Going to help us later in the game whenever we need to get something out of the way. One does have quite a bit of cards in hand, though. And it does look like they are playing the Anvil deck. They got a Synthesizer here, looking for a land, which they do hit. 2 mana available for our opponent here. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw opponent's own Bloodtithe Harvester. Okay, wow, they're actually just going to go ahead and kill the Soaring Thought Thief there. We're fine with that. Take another point of damage here. And we draw another Corpse Appraiser. So I think... would we rather make a Ninja just in case? It's unblockable. All that we would be hitting is a land, though. So let's actually Corpse Appraiser first. Exiling our own Thought Thief. Siphon Insight. Would we rather have the land to discard? Siphon Insight does have flashback. I guess that's fine. We still want to have... either way, we're still going to discard this into the graveyard. Yeah, let's go put this here. We have 2 Bloodtithe Harvesters next turn. That seems decent. We also have a Kaido redraw. This is also a rogue, so Zerathzon's still an option. We just have not seen any permanents at the graveyard that are really worth it. Another Epicure, that's fine. 3/3 can still break through. Couple 1/1s. Well, it looks like they are just going to go ahead and make the token right now as well, so... I kind of just don't mind trading that, though, just because we're getting rid of so many cards on their side. Okay, Voltage Surge, pretty good here. Could end up being a blowout. Let's see how they block. Okay, just blocking with 1. And let's get a draw. Evelyn. Well, I think I really want this Corpse Appraiser to hit a land so we can play this Bloodtithe Harvester. See if we get it. We do not. We hit an Infernal Grasp, a Fable, and a Soaring Thought Thief. I think I like the Thought Thief. Or the Fable, maybe even. No, I'll take the Thought Thief. It's a little bit more of a cheaper card. We have Voltage Surge in case we need it. Really need to hit some lands here, though. So hoping one of our next two draws is land, that way we can get some more spells on the table. We're doing okay. Our opponent does have their engine, which is a bit annoying, but we can go a little bit more over the top of that, especially once we get our Soaring Thought Thieves down. Okay, Deadly Dispute here, so they're going to get essentially 3 redraws. They do hit their own Blood Tithe Harvester, which we can just kill with the Voltage Surge. So let's see what they do here, how they plan out the rest of their turn. Still have 4 cards besides the Harvester, so it looks like they're actually opting to go for the Oni Cult Anvil. And they do still have the treasure here. Yep, so they're going to do that as well. I feel like they might make a couple 1/1s right now off of this blood token. Not sure if it would make more sense if they did it with the one of the 1/1s. And if they want to attack the Kaido, we're completely okay with that. We get to chip away at some of their permanents. Go ahead and block the Epicure here. Still kill the Blood Tithe Harvester at the end of their turn. And let's hope that we draw some more lands here. That way we can keep our spells going. We don't want to just be stuck casting 1 card a turn. We do have a Harvester and a Thought Thief if we don't, but I'm actually surprised they didn't sacrifice one of their cards there. Go ahead and play this as a black source. If we attack with both, we could also just mill, play this main phase. Evelyn's the option. We have quite a bit of cards here. Let's come in for 6. See what our opponent does first, then we'll actually be able to use the Kaido to just outright draw a card. I really almost do just want to make a ninja. It might be close here, honestly. Getting back this Blood Tithe seems pretty good. Gonna block there. And they're just gonna take the other 3. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and do this now. We don't have a reason not to. And we'll get to take the Blood Tithe Harvester. Potentially drawing a card off of this Kaido to try to hit our other Blood Tithe Harvester, or maybe even the Soaring Thought Thief. We can get a land back. Like, we could get this Blight Step. Yep. Gonna drain us for a damage here. They don't have any way to interact with this right now, though. So it is just gonna hit them here, and then we'll get to have a permanent of our choice. Okay. So it's either the land or the Blood Tithe. Either way, I guess we still get a Blood Tithe Harvester. We get a redraw off the Kaido, so let's see if that happens. Getting a land. We get a blood here. Let's redraw. Really surprised to let the other card through. We get a Spell Pierce that we can't cast, though. Okay. Pass it back. We can actually discard that Spell Pierce need be to the blood. A little bit stuck on mana, but we have some powerful cards on the battlefield. Hoping to kind of just not get the wide strategy going for our opponent. But we'll see. We have a flyer as well to go over the top. Kaido might help to some degree if we can get close to this ultimate. Okay, Synthesizer. I just feel like their grinded game plan's pretty decent, but we just have so many cards. Well, see how the rest of this game goes. And they are going to go ahead and sacrifice the Synthesizer and get another redraw here. I do have a removal spell and the Deadly Dispute, which are pretty good cards. Gonna kill the Zerathzon. Yeah, unfortunately we don't have the mana for the Spell Pierce. Even if we did, opponent does have 2 open mana. Still feeling pretty good having a Planeswalker. I feel like they might waste some resources on that. And they go ahead, Deadly Dispute, get a draw here. So now they have a pretty good amount of cards. And looks like our opponent's just going to pass back. Okay, they're just still just going to attack the Kaido. We're completely fine with that. I mean, we get to chip away a little bit at their creatures. Looks like they're just going to sacrifice it to the cult, maybe. Yep. We're okay with that, not a big deal. Kaido's going to go down to 5. We still just have so many things going on. And let's see, they do have 1 mana, so they could potentially do something, but I think I'd rather just keep all my cards as well. We did draw land, which is really nice here. We'd rather play that as a blue source. I think we would. Still get a redraw off the Kaido, potentially. See how we want to plan out our turn here. Soaring Thought Thief, Mills, Siphon Insight isn't necessarily going to get us something good. You have 9. Yeah, I think we do still play this and then just come in with both of our creatures. I don't mind milling them. This is also going to pump up the Corpse Appraiser. So it kind of makes our opponent have to block. They don't want to just take all this damage. See if we get to mill a couple good cards off the top of our opponent's deck as well. Looks like they're pointing to that treasure, but I don't think that they have anything here. Could be a Voltage Surge. Okay, looks like they're just going to double block. That's fine. I'd rather them take the 4. I think I'm okay making that trade. We get a redraw off the Kaido. We hit a Make Disappear. Do we want to hold that up? I also still have Corpse Appraiser and the Blood Token to discard. I guess still just make the Corpse Appraiser. Going maybe to draw something good here to kind of progress our game plan. The Spell Pierce isn't doing anything. I think we'll want to discard that to the blood. Exile the Blood Tithe Harvester here. Another Kaido. Yeah, I'll just take the land. It's just more important right now. Pass it back. Still feeling pretty good. Kind of a little bit more of like a slower pace game, considering our opponent's kind of a lot grindier. We have bigger threats. I mean, we just had to keep attacking every turn, and we can keep their permanents down. On top of that, Anvil only triggers on their turn, so we're pretty happy about that. And it looks like they're getting an Ob Nixilis down. And let's see, we can't make disappear that, that's fine. Or Spell Pierce it, but you know what, we got quite a bit going on right now. I think we're okay with that. We can kill one of the Ob Nixilises as well. Let's just discard the Spell Pierce. It's not doing anything. Same with the Make Disappear. I think I just want to get all my vampires down as quick as possible. They want to discard, sure. So they actually went for the double discard, but we definitely just had some cards that aren't doing anything outside of burning a hole in our hands, so let's try to speed this up a little bit here. 4 cards left, 4 mana as well. They have their own Harvester. That's fine. I still think the mana is more important than having to discard this to the Blood Token. Looks like they have another Blood Tithe Harvester. So they have some pretty good blockers now, actually, on their side. We can kill an Ob Nixilis. Do we just want to get rid of one of our own Harvesters? Oh, Spell Pierce. I think I'd rather do that. So let's go ahead and kill one of these Ob Nixilis. And mill our opponent for a couple cards. Don't think we want to just trade these for their Harvesters. They could do that on their turn, and that's fine. So I don't think that we hit anything that was really too important. We hit an anvil, so at least they didn't have that. Let's draw with the Kaido. A Xander's Lounge. So we have 3, 5, Evelyn. I think we still want to play this. We'd rather Evelyn and Harvester. That way we're guaranteed some cards. I think so. It's a little bit weird playing it main phase, but if we're just going to follow it up with Blood Tithe Harvester, I think I feel better just doing it now. We hit a Zeratzon and a Spikefield Hazard. That's fine. Let's play another Blood Tithe. So we actually get another trigger again from the Evelyn. And we actually have a pretty decent blocker against these Blood Tithe Harvesters as well. Synthesizer isn't bad. I mean, you know, just having some extra cards is just great, always. And it looks like they're going to try to make us discard, which we'll just get rid of the Spell Pierce. Definitely some cards we're going to have to consider removing from our deck on the sideboard side of things. And another Harvester here. So they can actually kill the Evelyn. Okay, Epicure. Let's see if they just end up killing some of our board. They haven't done anything yet about the Soaring Thought Thief either. Yep, they are going to get to kill the Evelyn. That's fine. They can kill one more card. And looks like it's going to be the Soaring Thought Thief. So we're kind of a little bit in trouble, at least at this point now. We're able to have this Kaido, which could potentially get us some more creatures. I don't think that that's the game plan, though. We still just want to keep churning through our deck and getting to the cards we need. Corpse Appraiser is going to be really good at doing that, especially if we can hit like a Fable. So I think we just want to, let's see, opponent's at 14. Let's uptick. Don't really have any good attacks right now. Do hit a Fable. We definitely just play that now. That way we can get some more redraws. And I think we still just play this Corpse Appraiser to try to look for the best card in our top 3 here. Getting rid of one of the creatures in their graveyard. Could discard the Xander's Lounge, so the blood might end up being the play. Yeah, get rid of one of these Blood Tithe Harvesters. Look at our top 3 here. Corpse Appraiser, couple Siphon Insights. I think we just take the Corpse Appraiser. I almost want to use one of these Siphon Insights soon. Rather just kill their Blood Tithe Harvester. They can kill anything. Yeah, that's fine. They can block the Goblin token. It's not a big deal. Or do we even play the Xander's Lounge? That's also another option. He just gives us more mana. Yeah, I kind of like that, because if we're going to Siphon Insight, then we just want to have like a really big turn. Definitely starting to get a little bit awkward. Fable is going to help, potentially. Okay, Anvil grinding us down. So we're starting to get lower on life. We really need to do something pretty soon here. It was looking good, but it looks like our opponent kind of just has a lot of 1/1s going again. I think we only have one Meat Hook in the deck. Yeah, so we're going to be looking for that, or a Meat Hook from the top of our opponent's deck as well. We've milled one of them. They could have one in their hand. We would lose quite a bit of life here. Pretty much game ending, actually. But it looks like they just have a Voltage Surge on the Kaido, which we're fine with all of this. It's not really like a big deal. If that's what they'd rather waste it on, then it's okay. We're not going to use the ultimate on Kaido. We had to discard a card. How risky is it to take the damage? Probably too risky. Let's get rid of Corpse Appraiser. We have more card advantage with the insights potentially. I'd rather keep the Harvester to copy that. We already have some appraisers on the battlefield. So either way they're going to go for the Cairn. Okay, and we're actually going to take some damage here. So opponent getting rid of all of our cards is really good here. Mostly playing with what we have on the battlefield and these two insights in the graveyard. Don't get me wrong, it's still pretty good considering we're going to get a little bit more some card selection, but it's starting to get a little bit awkward here. We're going to block. We don't have a meat hook in play, so that's good. They do get a treasure, so let's block here. Gonna block the Epicure and a couple of tokens, taking 2 damage altogether. And if they want to sacrifice some of their cards in the anvil, it's going to be 2 more, so we'll go down to 3. So it's looking pretty rough here in that sense, just because of how low life we are. Okay. We draw a land. I think we just want to get rid of that here. We had another Fable. We're at 3 though. I think that's not going to be enough. We need to hit a meat hook here. We hit an Obnixilis. That kind of saves us a little bit, actually. Let's attack with the Goblin token. I'm just going to attack their Obnixilis. I feel like they might value that high enough that they'd want to get rid of one of their permanents for it. They double block, they double block. We just play the Obnixilis, sacrificing one of the appraisers, making a double, and then making our opponent lose some life. And we'll gain some life as well off of the other Obnixilis. Yeah, it just looks like they're doing that, which we're definitely okay with. So let's go and play. Let's see. Get a redraw. Yeah, let's play the Obnixilis with the casualty, sacrificing the Goblin token. Getting 2 Obnixilis. Still keeping us in the game for a little bit here. And we have enough mana to siphon Insight. I think the Fable's better because it just makes more blockers. And let's make a Devil token with this Obnixilis. And we'll uptick this other one here. And opponent doesn't really have too much of a response. I mean, they have a blood token that they can use, but they're going to have to sacrifice their treasure token for it. And I think I'd rather just get a redraw here with the Kaido to see if we can hit something good. Okay, just another land. Rather than using the treasure token, I think that's fine. Let's play the Fable. I think I like that more than the Siphon. So Obnixilis kind of keeping us in the game here, actually. I guess we do lose 2 life off of theirs. And then they drain us for 2. If they activate the creature land, we might end up losing here. Let's see. Alright, so our opponent getting some more permanents down. Don't even want to use the Devil token to block. It's kind of awkward here. We could make a Devil token with the other Obnixilis. It's okay. Definitely starting to hit like danger zone here. Gonna try, if we get to our turn, we're gonna use the Siphon Insight to try to hit a meat hook. That's really our best shot right now still. Or if we draw our meat hook. Okay, gonna go down to 2. Let's see. So they have 1 card in hand. We don't know what it is. Looks like they're using their timer here, so things are getting pretty close in game 1. Okay, we get to untap. So let's discard this Make Disappear. And would me hook for 1 really do it? Let's Siphon Inside our opponent. Try to hit a meat hook off their deck. We hit another Obnixilis, which is really good. We'll uptick both of these. And we'll just make 2 more Obnixilis, which is working out, actually. Think we need to ping theirs, though, at least, to survive, just because the ultimate on that is actually going to kill us. So, opponent might have something here. We'll find out. Just a land. And we'll get the uptick here as well. And let's get a redraw off this Kaido real quick before we do the other ob. Just in case we hit something else that we want to do. Okay, just a land. I think that we would rather keep... Either way, we're going to discard it because we still have to deal with the other Obnixilis, but let's casualty this here, sacrificing the... Let's see, if we sacrifice that, though, then we won't be able to gain the life, which is what we want to do. But we have to hit the Obnixilis here, or else we're losing. That's fine. We can still make another devil off of one of them. So let's target their Obnixilis, get it down a point. We need to make sure that we keep the new Ob, which is the 3 loyalty one. We'll downtick, make a devil. We'll uptick on the other Obnixilis. Do we want to cycle this away? I don't think that we do. I'd rather just hold on to it and not lose the 2 life. I think we just had to pass the turn. We can start making copies of the devil too, which feels pretty good. We'll see how that goes here. We got 3 Obnixilis. We're going to go down to 7. Still in scary territory here, but we can start potentially gaining 7 life. Or, excuse me, 6 life. Yep, we'll discard the land. Opponent can activate their Hive of the Eye Tyrant. We don't have a card now to discard to these blood tokens either. Gonna take some damage, go down to 6. Let's see what they got here. They have a pretty decent amount of attackers. They're actually just gonna pass. Wow. So we're looking pretty good. We're dealing them 6 damage a turn. And gaining 6 life. Are Fables going to flip? Do they have a response? Looks like they're going to time here. We need to find a way. I guess we can make a copy of this. It'll die. And then we'll be able to ping their Obnixilis for a point again. Kind of just keep that going back and forth. Okay, Fable's going to come down, I believe. Looks like our opponent's down to 13 minutes as well. I mean, we're almost at time here in the actual match itself. It's been a grindy game one. Definitely been a grindy game one here. Alright, so that's going to resolve. Let's start upticking all of our Ob Nixilis. Having the Xanders is really nice too because we can get a redraw off that as well now that we just have a ton of mana. And it looks like our opponent's just going to concede considering that we're getting out of the range where they can start to grind us back even if they're making like a couple tokens a turn. Really, really crazy game one there. We want both of these meat hooks here. Don't think that we want the Hearst. Potentially the Duress. Because there are quite a bit of non-creature cards that we can grab with it. So let's bring those in. The Negate, I think, is an option. I don't like these Make Disappears or the Spell Pierce. What else do we want to cut? Serathon is fine. It's not like a crazy card really against them. I kind of want the second Negate, but I'm debating on what I would want to cut for it. I guess the Voltage Surges aren't really that impressive. I'd rather have the other Negate, or maybe even something like this, knowing that one of their best cards is just going to be a Blood Tithe Harvester. So let's run it back and see how it goes for us here. Really, really grindy game there. Yeah, looks like our opponent's still in the sideboard phase here. If you're enjoying the content, definitely don't forget you can hit that subscribe button, bell notification, leave a like on the video, comment down below, would be greatly appreciated. We do host 3 tournaments a month, all are free to play with cash prizes, so definitely check that out as well in the links. And let's see what our opponent's game plan is here. We're pretty close to time though. I mean, they're almost to 10 minutes. Looks like our opponent's taking the full time to sideboard. Hoping to get a good opening hand here. Going to be on the draw, so might have a little bit more of a slower opening. Mostly trying to avoid them getting their engine going as soon as possible, as most of their cards are kind of just like pretty medium and we're doing a lot better things. Yeah, let's see what our opponent's got brewing here. We have one land though, so we're gonna have to take them all again. Triple Corpse Appraiser. A little bit awkward as well. So let's take a mulligan here. And this is a lot better. Ooh, the Negate seems pretty good considering they might go for like a Fable. Question is, do we want the Siphon Insight? I guess Siphon Insight's like a little bit worse than either of these. I'd rather just hold up the Negate for something that they end up playing on turn 3. Okay, we'll Darren Epicure. And we'll go and play Xander's Lounge tapped. Pass the turn back. And looks like they are going to get their Anvil down early, so a bit unfortunate there, but you know, being on the draw does hurt a little bit. Opponent's going to get in for 1. And we're just going to hold up this Negate here. Could have held up the Siphon Insight in case they didn't have anything, but something in my gut tells me we're just going to use this counterspell now. Going to take a couple points of damage here, so opponent is getting a bit of a speedier start than we are, that's for certain. Do we want to Fable? Opponent did not play anything, but we hit our own Meat Hook, which is nice. Let's just play the Fable now. It gives us a pretty decent blocker. And we can kind of cycle through the rest of our deck to hit some cards that we need. Specifically the mana. Right now that's kind of all that we're missing. Okay, Voltage Surge. And looks like we're going to take the 2 damage here. And they're just going to sacrifice the token, replace it with a fresh token. We'll take a point of damage, their gain of life, get their engine going and going. Yeah, we'll discard the insight. And I think this Corpse Appraiser. So don't hit a land. That is a bit troublesome. All that we'd be getting rid of is our own Corpse Appraiser. That's fine. Really looking to dig for a land here, and we do hit one. We'll take the Blight Step. Play it as a black source, that way we have this Meat Hook open. And that's essentially going to be our saving grace this game, we're hoping for. This Infernal Grasp, we did cut down the one, so a little bit annoying that we drew it, but I think I'll definitely take that for having the Meat Hook in our hand. And looks like they're just going to make a new token here, ping us again. And we hit a Duress. So let's see what our opponent is cooking with here, considering that they're just saying go every turn. Wow, they have their own Meat Hook, so we'll just get rid of that. We'll play another Fable. We'll attack with the Corpse Appraiser here. And we'll pass it back. And we're actually going to take down the match. Looks like our opponent didn't really have too much gas left. And in all honesty, I mean, that game was definitely grinding out there. That was a pretty long match, but I'm glad that we were able to pull it out. We'll see you the rest of the matches. Let's slam some more rogues against our opponents here. This was the deck that took down first place in our latest event. So I definitely have quite a bit of faith in it here. I think we'll keep this as well. We're on the draw. Spell Pierce could be useful. We have some other cards that we can play in between as well. Okay, looks like they have an Ascendant Spirit here. So we may be up against the mono blue deck. I think that we'll go ahead and just play our island down and hold up the Spell Pierce. And looks like they have a Ledger Shredder. That could get out of control here. Let's play our tap land here. That way it sets us up for our next turn for one of our 3-drops. And we'll go and take 2 damage here. And we have a Zerathzon. Not really too impressive. I feel like we're almost running this Fable the Mirror Breaker into a counterspell, but we're also behind on the tempo. I think I'd rather try to play it rather than them leveling up their Ascendant Spirit. And we're not playing 2 spells a turn, so the Ledger Shredder isn't going to grow, which is pretty nice. Okay, looks like our opponent's going to level up their Ascendant Spirit. We'll go ahead and take 3 damage here, go down to 14. And let's see, so they both have 3 toughness. Definitely in a bit of a tough spot here. There's no creatures in the graveyard either. I think we just play this as our second black source. They would pump this if we were to block. Either way, we're in pretty rough territory here if we're mostly just playing this as a 3/3, but we kind of have to, just because we don't have anything else going on, unfortunately. So it may have been a little bit of a loose keep there, but playing against mono blue is kind of rough considering that. They usually do have some counter spells there for a lot of your plays. So opponent's going to get another land down. Looks like they're going to come back in for some damage. We'll see if they pump up this Spirit. They could block and make them use their mana. I feel like I kind of like that. even if we lose the Corpse Appraiser. Still have the Spell Pierce open if they had some kind of one mana spell there. They did not. So this is a 4/4 next turn. They can activate if they do hit a island, and we're already taking quite a bit of damage. We can't block because we don't have any flyers. So yeah, let's go and just pass it back. Even if we played the Sun. Okay, it looks like they did hit their 4th land for the Spirit here. So all we can really hope for is that our opponent just plays some creatures and taps out, and then we can use this meat hook to wipe the board. But it looks like they're not going to do that. Let's try to play the Seratzon. If they counter this, there's a chance we could end up resolving this meat hook. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take the shot here. This is actually the only play that we have. And they do have a slip out the back, so let's see if we can get this down. We'll kill this. This will be 7. So yeah, it's not really looking all that great for us. I think we'll just move on next game, because even if we, get to take another turn, we're not blocking a flyer. Unless we draw like a Sorenthal Thief, but even then we're kind of just like in chump block mode, and the Thief also has a resolve, so kind of a bit tough there. Looks like our opponent is on the tempo game plan. A lot of our cards actually don't match up too well against theirs. So let's take a look here. Looks like they do mostly just have a lot of cheap counter spells. I think I like the negates. Spell Pierce is fine, but I don't think that I want it here. It is a bit mana efficient, but not really too happy with it, I don't think. Let's bring in the meat hooks. The duresses. Let's take a look. Seratzon isn't really that impressive. I like the Evelyn a little bit more. And what else do we want to get rid of here? Voltage Surge is fine. And let's just get rid of a Make Disappear. Let's see, do we want the Soul Shatter? I don't believe we do. Let's just go ahead and run it like this and see how we do. So it looks like there's mono blue in all kinds of formats, am I right? I've had quite a bit of videos on the channel about the mono blue Spirits and Explorer, and looks like there's also a mono blue deck floating around in Standard. I actually like this hand, it's pretty decent. We can start off with a Stormcarved Coast into the Hive, and then hit the Fable on time as well. So let's see if they have 1-drop. They actually have a Delver. And do we just want to Siphon Insight now? I think I'd rather make them use a counter spell on it. Let's go ahead and do this. Try to take a spell from the top of their deck. They have a Spell Pierce? Sure. Let's see if they get the Delver to flip. And they do not, actually. So it could have ended up being either a creature or a land. We're going to take a point of damage, try to resolve this Fable on our following turn. Sorenthal Thief is good, but I think I'd rather spend all of our mana here and make sure that we can try to resolve one of our more powerful cards overall. Okay, so it looks like they had a Fading Hope for us there on the token. A bit unfortunate, they were able to fix their draw, but still no flip of the Delver, so that's definitely some good news. And we're going to go ahead and take a point of damage here. There's a Corpse Appraiser. There isn't anything that we can exile with it. So I actually don't really think that we want that, and we can get rid of one of our lands here as well. Let's get rid of Clearwater. Kaido's pretty decent. I don't know if it's going to resolve, in all honesty. I think that we're okay playing this as a black source. We're able to play both our Blood Tithe Harvester and our Soaring Thought Thief, which I like a lot. And the Blood-Tithe Harvester actually resolved. It could mean that they do have a Fading Hope for it, but if they use that, we're fine. Okay, opponent with a Consider here. And it looks like they are going to go ahead and flip the Delver this time. So, could be in for a little bit of a beating here. Let's see, they have 3 cards in the graveyard, and we're definitely going to use the Soaring Thought Thief. Either way. So let's go ahead and cast the Soaring Thought Thief. And let's see, we can kill... Well, we can try to kill the Delver. Let's see if that actually works. Now, we have the Blood-Tithe Harvester to back it up with, if need be. And then we can start attacking with our Soaring Thought Thief. Could also save the Blood-Tithe Harvester to start copying with the Reflection. And it actually looks like our opponent's going to concede that game. So let's take a look here. Soul Shatter is still too much of an expensive card. I almost want the other Voltage Surges now, seeing as how our opponent is definitely on a little bit more of that beatdown plan than we thought. And it's looking like some of their creatures are definitely within that 2 damage range. The first game, the Ascendant Spirit and the Ledger Shredder necessarily weren't. We also didn't really have an artifact to sacrifice to kill that Shredder, so that also makes quite a bit of difference here. I like this hand we've got. I like it because we have the Soaring Thought Thief and the Voltage Surge. A lot of the issue with this hand is that we have quite a bit of mana, and the Corpse Appraiser isn't necessarily doing anything right away. I think I would rather try it out, though, knowing that we can potentially get the Soaring Thought Thief to get maybe interacted with, or if it resolves, we have a card that can essentially block most of theirs. Let's actually start off, well, if we start off with the red, then we can't cast the Soaring Thought Thief, so we have to actually play a tap land here. I think I'm okay playing this Haunted Ridge and then playing the Clear Water down as a blue source. And it looks like our opponent didn't have anything yet, and we'll pass it back. Let's see if they have a card with Flash here. And they just have Consider, which is okay. I really enjoy having these 1 mana removal spells here in case they do something a little bit out of control. And let's see if our Soaring Thought Thief gets counterspelled. If it does, then we might just want to slam this Corpse Appraiser, considering it's a pretty decent sized body, and it'll actually get us a redraw as well. They might not see the Thought Thief as that much of a threat, but yeah, looks like they do have the Make Disappear for it. And we will cast this Corpse Appraiser here to have a threat on the battlefield and gain a little bit of some card advantage at the same time. I do like the Meat Hook. We already have a negate, so I actually enjoy having this board wipe, and 2 targeted removal spells are pretty decent as well. Looks like they just have a Stowaway for now. And let's see here. So we have double red and the blue mana that we'd want for all of our cards. So either way, let's just cast this. I think we're just going to try to do this now on our main phase. That way we can kind of push through some damage with the Appraiser. And they just have a slip out the back. I think we'll just Voltage Surge here. Try to just get rid of this card. It's pretty good. It gives them quite a bit of advantage. Do they have another slip out the back? They actually do, so we're just gonna get a little bit of a battle here going. Quite a bit of a stack, but we'll go ahead and kill this Suspicious Stowaway. They're down to 2 cards. We have a board wipe left, which is one of our better cards against them. And they don't have anything. It goes to nighttime. We actually hit a Evelyn here. We'll attack for 3 damage, get them down to 14, pass it back. And we are going to try to cast this Evelyn. If it runs into a counterspell, it runs into a counterspell. Not really much else that we have going on, so you may as well try to push the cards through. Okay, Essence Capture seems pretty good. We'll hit them for 3. We'll actually pass the turn back. We already have enough mana to pretty much Meat Hook for what we need to. So, yep, coming in for 3 again. Try to play the Blood Tithe Harvester into potentially another counterspell. Just get these cards out of their hand. It actually goes through. So, yep, we'll go to pass it back. We can use this blood token to discard one of our excess lands here. And we actually took down that match. So, looked a little bit rough in the beginning considering our opponent in game 1 had a ton of tempo. But we were able to take it with the long game there. Alright. Looks like we're actually getting matched up against the Shuffler here. So, let's see if we can get a good draw. The fate is in our opponent's hand here. And it's pretty decent, not bad. I think it's a keeper. We're on the draw. We might be able to hit our third land on time for the Kaido after we Thought Thief. A little bit risky, but higher reward as well, especially considering we have the Zareths on that. Could potentially bring back a card from our opponent's graveyard. And let's actually start off with the, let's see, Clearwater. No, let's just do the Hive either way, and then we can Clearwater into the Thought Thief. The Haunting Ridge will come into play untapped for the Kaido. See what our opponent's up to. They have double tap land. Do they have a 1-drop spell? Could be a Duress. If it is, they just take the Voltage Surge. They do get perfect information on our hand, which is, I believe, what would be the better part about that. So let's go ahead and play this as a blue source, pass it back. Try to get our Soaring Thought Thief down into this Kaido. Mostly our game plan here. We might actually even consider playing this Corpse Appraiser if we get like a creature card milled from the Thought Thief itself. And it looks like they actually don't have anything yet, just holding up some mana. They might have a Riveteer's Charm here, so let's go ahead and see if that's what they have. And we'll go ahead and play this Haunted Ridge. Coming in for a point of damage. We know that they don't play counterspells, so that's great. And we'll hit them for a point of damage here. And let's see, so they hit a Brybridge Tracker. Do we just want to Appraiser? I think I still just like Kaido. If they have like a Dragon's Fire to kill it, that's fine. It's not really that insane, really. Let's go ahead and draw a card, kind of get this engine going on our side. Let's see what we hit. We have a removal spell, potentially a counter spell later in the game against something that could be problematic. We're almost looking for like an artifact here because we want to be able to use this Voltage Surge to full capacity. Okay, looks like they're just going to shoot our Kaido down for a couple points of damage. We do hit a Fable, which is a card. Right now, we're really just digging for some lands. Luckily, our Kaido is going to get to phase out here, so it's going to be protected for at least a turn. Helena and Elena's pretty good. We hit another Voltage Surge. So let's attack with the Soaring Thought Thief. We get to mill our opponent. Let's see if our opponent just takes the damage. They're going to block. We are okay with that. We'll deal this too. And then we'll just get to deal another one to kill it. We get to draw with the Kaido. Try to hit a land, and we do, so we'll play that. Do we want to play the Fable or just get a redraw? I think we do want to play the Fable because the Fable is going to get us a treasure token that we'll be able to use for the Voltage Surge to kill the next thing that they play. So I think that's potentially just correct there. See what our opponent has. Okay, they have their own Fable. So all they really have is this Goblin token. They have an open mana. I mean, they could have their own Voltage Surge, but all that's really going to do is kill our token. Not really too impressed with that. If they get the untap, then we'll actually have the Spell Pierce for it. So that'll be great. Alright, so do we want to discard here? I think we still... We almost just want to get rid of these counter spells. They're just not really doing anything for us, honestly. kind of a little bit on the aggressive game plan here. Let's go to attack with both of our creatures. We'll get the treasure token to be able to sacrifice 2 of the voltage surge. And are they going to trade goblins? We're okay if they do. Not a big deal. Could have also Zerethsond. I think that's okay, though. Let's try to get this Evelyn online. Let's draw a card here. We hit another land. Let's pass it back. Let's get this Evelyn online. And then we'll probably Zerethsond on the following turn. I kind of just like doing the control game plan here, knowing that we're in really good shape, and the more that we grind our opponent down, the better chance we have of just winning the game overall. So I don't necessarily want to put all my eggs in the basket right now. I just want to kind of take my time. I just feel like that's like one of the better ways to play this deck. So they're actually going to do that. So that's going to deal a lot of damage, and they're going to kill our Fable. That's fine. Is that all they have? We'll see if it is. They gotta kill the Fable here, right? Yep. So Fable down. But it looks like that's all that our opponent has. So we're actually just gonna play Zerethsond now, because we're gonna get to take our opponent's best permanent. So let's go ahead and hit our opponent here. Let's see what they have in the graveyard for us to take. I think this Helena and Elena's the perfect choice. We'll go ahead and play the River Glide down as a red source. Uptaking on the Kaido to draw a card. We'll go ahead. We have Evelyn. And some spells. I think we'll just play Flash now for a little bit. We got 2 removal spells. The Evelyn's looking pretty good here. They do get a reflection down, but we obviously have some interaction for that. Opponent down to 3 cards as well. The only thing we're really missing right now is like an artifact, but because we have the Infernal Grasp, it's definitely not a big deal. I want to get max value, though, of just using all my mana this turn. So we have to sacrifice a card with the highest mana cost. So it looks like it's just going to be Zerethsond. That's fine. They have to spend most of their turn doing that. They're down to 2 cards, 3 mana. They play a Blood Tithe Harvester. That's alright. We let that resolve. 1 mana left from our opponent. And let's go ahead, play this Evelyn down. And then use this Voltage Surge, I believe, to just kill this Reflection. Let's see what we hit off the top of our opponent's deck and ours as well. Soaring Thought Thief, can't play that. So yeah, let's just shoot down this Reflection here. And then take our turn. Potentially with this Helena and Elena pumping our Evelyn here. And it looks like our opponent's just going to go ahead and pack it up there. So really good game for us. Just everything that we want to be doing with this deck. So let's see here. We're definitely playing against something that's like mid-rangey, but it's manageable. Do we want some negates? I feel like they probably play Goldspan Dragon. Is the Soul Shatter worth it, though? I don't really like the Spell Pierce here. Siphon Insight's fine. Meat Hook as a one of is okay. Let's just get rid of the Make Disappears one on the draw. Let's bring in the Soul Shatters. I like the extra Voltage Surge, potentially. Maybe we bring in Disdainful Stroke as well. I mean, they got a lot of 4-drops, but they also have some early game, so I don't think that Disdainful is going to be good all the time. Let's see here. Voltage Surge. I'm really stuck on just maybe having some more removal overall. The problem is that we really just don't make that many artifacts. We'd almost want like the Unlicensed Hearse just to have it. Let's do 1 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Make Disappear, and the extra voltage surge. Let's try and see how that works out. Kind of just a little bit 1-1 split. I don't necessarily think that, you know, one or the other counter spells are really that much better than the other. Wow, it actually looks like our opponent went ahead and conceded that match, so we took it down. All right. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. Playing some more Grixis Vampire Rogues. Really been enjoying this deck so far. Looks like we're going to be on the draw here. Not an exceptional hand. Looks like we're going to have to go back to the tank for this one. I think we can keep this. It's a bit slow, but, you know, it's definitely playable. We have our red source for our Fable, so going to have a little bit of a slow start, but I think it's okay. It's a little bit manageable here. Fable could potentially draw us into some cards that we need, and it looks like we're actually up against mono green, so we could be seeing a Seeker's Chariot or potentially some other form of 4-drop here. And let's see what our opponent has. So it could be an explosive start. We'll see if it is. Just a Ranger's class though. Okay, not as powerful as we thought. If they want to upgrade that, nope, going for the Werewolf Pack Leader. So still really, really fast start from our opponent. The Corpse Appraiser is almost an option just because it trades with the Pack Leader. But they could end up putting a counter here. We would block, take 6, still have a body. I think that's okay. We're not obviously not getting any value, but still a decent sized body for what their board is presenting. Opponent is down to 3 cards, but their board presence is quite enormous here. They do have a Blizzard Brawl on top of that, so it looks like we're going to be taking a huge chunk of damage, and our opponent's also going to get the redraw. So quite a bit of a start from our opponent here. Alright, going to take the damage. And we hit a Soaring Thought Thief. So the game's definitely slipping a bit away from us here. I think we just play this as a red and don't really have too much of an option but to make a chump blocker. And then maybe hope that the Evelyn is enough. Okay, opponent with 3 cards in hand. Let's see what they got. Just an attack here. Gonna put a counter on the Sculptor. So we're just gonna go ahead and chump block here, save ourselves lethal. Gonna go down to 5. The best card we could draw right now is gonna be our one of Meat Hook. So let's try to hit it. I think I'd rather have the other Fable or the Thought Thief. Thought Thief is a cheaper card. We do hit the Meat Hook. So let's play this as a black source. If they have... Looks like they might have a Snakeskin Veil. If they do, they actually win the game. Because we're tapping out. They actually end up having the Snakeskin Veil. So let's see. They can make this into 6. So we're at 7. And that's 7. Yep. So we got pretty close there. We drew the card we needed, but unfortunately our opponent actually had the correct answer there for us. So let's bring in these other Meat Hooks, the Soul Shatters. The Voltage Surge is okay. I don't think that we want these counter spells. They're a little bit weaker against them. Let's see. Do we want the Evelyn? Or maybe we do just bring in the Voltage Surge to make sure that we can kill their 2-drops. I think this is fine. Zarazan's still okay, especially if we can get it down early off of a Soaring Thought Thief. Being on the play could also end up making a bit of a difference. You know, it definitely would have been able to stay in the game there, but you know, that Snakeskin Veil was just enough for our opponent to pull away with it. And it looks like they're still sideboarding. Okay, gonna get into our game 2 here. going to be on the play. And actually it looks like we do have to take a mulligan here. No lands and only a one lander for our second go at it. So we do have to go down yet another time. And unfortunately it looks like we have just a bit of an awkward draw here. But I don't think that we can go down to 4. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play this swamp here. And an Outland Liberator. We do draw a land, but unfortunately we can't play anything, seeing as how it comes into play tapped. Our opponent's going to go ahead and hit us for 3 damage here and potentially follow up with another play. They do have the Old Growth Troll, so even if we use this Soul Shatter, we are in a bit of trouble considering our opponent could ramp up here. And they're going to go to attacks. Let's go ahead and just use this Soul Shatter. Even if it does ramp our opponent, it's the only option that we have right now. I'm also looking to top deck a land, specifically a red source to play one of these Fables down. And then maybe use this Me Hook eventually. It's definitely what our game plan is looking like right now. And it looks like they have a Chariot here. And unfortunately we did not draw a red source, so we do just have to pass it back to our opponent here. And it looks like we're actually going to go down in this match to our opponent kind of just having like a really quick start in both games. It did end up unfortunately having to take a mulligan down to 5 in this game as well, where, you know, our colors just didn't line up rightly. And it looks like we have a Kaido, so we could play that, but unfortunately we lose to what our opponent has on the battlefield, so looks like we got to pack it in, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and see you in the post-game wrap. Here for the post-game wrap, and as you can see in the video, a lot of our games were actually pretty quick and felt like a lot of the time they were just in our control. We were just trying to really grind the game into a position where we were just able to kind of overpower our opponents, but like I said earlier, I definitely recommend this deck for the ladder, especially for tournaments as well, considering that, you know, the sideboard, I feel like it's definitely tuned for what the metagame is bringing usually at those events. And your main deck is just great as well. I mean, the Siphon Insight definitely helps you kind of just keep the card advantage flowing, same as the Kaido Suzuki. So overall, phenomenal deck, definitely an A+. Congratulations again to our winner for taking it down with this deck, but you can find all the links to the tournaments that we run, 3 free a month with cash prizes, my content, and just all kinds of other information down below. And I hope that you stay cheesy.